And red light means we're recording. Green light means nothing. There's no green light on this laptop. How's it going?
What's up?
Back again?
Hey, man.
It's been...
Not Neil.
Not Neil?
No, this is my first time.
It's his first time. Hey, welcome, Neil.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's a very nice welcome.
Yeah, and we want to make you feel welcome before we say mean things to you.
You did that in the previous one.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And we didn't feel bad about it, but we wanted to include you anyway. So this isn't in any way an apology. I stand by what I said.
I expected of you, but Keagan, I mean...
Anyway, I'm your host, Ezra. Co-host. That is very mean of me.
Oh, okay.
I'm your co-host,
That's hectic.
Ezra. We're joined by your other co-host, Keagan.
Yeah.
And our guest host for today, the man, the legend, Father Neil.
Father Neil, I appreciate you calling me guest host. I didn't know I was hosting anything. I thought I was just guest. But I appreciate being host. It makes me feel like I have more authority.
Yeah, we call all our guests guest hosts.
Guest host.
Yeah.
And importance thing. And self-esteem and whatnot.
You're equally responsible for it. So if this goes terribly, we can also blame you.
It's definitely then my
liability.
Exactly.
I would blame only
Spread
me.
the liability.
Yes,
Yeah, we're businessmen as well as talking men. Terrible jokes aside.
I'm going to move past that.
Terrible jokes aside, if you enjoy listening to Neil on this podcast, you might enjoy his Twitter. It is terrible and full of horrific puns.
Definitely.
Yes.
But
I haven't done that in a while, but I'll get straight to it now that you've mentioned it.
Now that I've mentioned it,
Yes.
it won't disappoint, and you can follow him at Neil Real.
Yes, that's Neil Real. That's
at
Neil. And real is spelled like the normal word real. So
Okay.
there you go.
So it's the real one.
At Neil Real. Yes, I am the real one. I did at first try to name it at Real Neil, but that was taken.
Oh.
I was quite disappointed. That was
We're going
about
to just put a
8
number
years
at
ago.
the end of it. But
I didn't want to do that.
Okay. Originality.
It looks petty and poor.
Yeah.
Keagasm 04.
It's a callback to episode 2. Anyway, we're here again, and today we're going to be talking about our... not really our favourite series. We're just going to be talking about series from
2017
Yes,
in series.
Notable series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly.
This will be the last time we talk about the demonous monster that was the year 2017.
Yeah. We're still very much stuck in 2017, clearly.
Yeah, I think the world is. I think many things happened in
Yes.
2017 that have just shaped the beginning of this year, and we're not quite over it yet. We're still that sickening high school girl pining over the terrible guy that's treating her badly.
Oh.
But today we break that.
Analogy game is on point.
We finish it
As
and
always.
Strong.
we pile all his old stuff and we're burning it in a bonfire tonight by talking about, the memories, good and bad.
Yeah.
And looking towards the future at the end. And I really think, like an Edgar Wright movie, I just summed up the way this is going to go at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
That's also a deep cut for you.
That's pretty deep cut.
Shaun of the Dead, Keegan's favourite
Maybe
Edgar Wright
It's the
movie.
best one, Undisputable, but different podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Undisputable?
No, okay, we'll get
Also, undisputable is not a word, but we'll go with it.
Indisputable, okay.
Indisputable.
You
Hey.
called him John Carter. You called Jay-Z John Carter.
Oh, wow. We're going back.
To 2 podcasts ago.
Okay, cool. Just jumping straight into it, did you guys watch a lot of series this year?
Less new series than usual.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, watched a lot of series from probably the past 10 years.
Okay.
Less
Like
series
what?
from the most notable one that you put me onto, Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Binge watched
Oh.
like 9.5
way to do it.
seasons. 9 seasons of
Yeah.
it, except the last 2 episodes, weirdly, because you as well have not watched the last episodes. It's strange.
It's weird.
Ezra still hasn't
The
caught on
exact
to
same
it,
point
but-
we stopped.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm back in season 2, but I will get there one day.
Yeah.
The start of the great seasons once Danny DeVito had joined.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's my biggest issue with series. I watched some really great movies this year, had a great time with movies, and I'm finding as I get busier, I have less time to really invest myself into
It's a commitment.
especially
it's
like
a lot
a
more
24 episode season can be a bit of a tough one.
And it's annoying because there's so many great series out there that we all should have watched by now. But to get into them at this stage is just...
I think what also made it difficult is I'm pretty sure all of us got access to Netflix last year for the first time.
Yeah.
Truth.
And there's just so much on there. It's hard to keep up, and they release their originals.
Less of the older stuff as well.
Yes.
More of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a commitment, like you said.
Yeah.
All the series are really fighting for attention now. And I think that's another just kind of a symptom of the streaming era that we find ourselves in.
It's taking over from movies. The silver screen is now more important almost. It's a better industry to be in.
A lot of actors are making the jump from movie to television, which used to be career suicide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That's becoming the norm.
Yeah, and it's just as lucrative, just as much prestige.
I feel like you'd actually be more famous nowadays in most series. Being in a series,
if you can hold that performance over a couple of seasons, that's an impressive feat.
People become more invested.
A lot of these big celebrities seem to sign on just for the anthology type, whereas I don't think they'd be able to do it over a lot more seasons.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think so. Look at Matthew McConaughey, True Detective.
Yeah,
Woody Harrelson, the entire Fargo cast.
But then you get Sean Bean on Game of Thrones, and
that was one season.
I see what you mean there, but I mean that's not an anthology. Every episode mattered.
Yeah.
Every episode followed on.
Wait, wasn't he in the rest of the season? What happened?
Spoilers. Going to start with the spoilers.
Mild spoilers.
Like 10 years.
Well, to be honest, if you don't know what happened to Ned Stark by now,
what happened to him? Can you tell me?
I don't know if I want to be that guy. I mean, I'll say he dies, but that's been all over everything.
We won't tell anyone that his daughter watched him die. We won't mention that.
Of course that he got beheaded with his own sword.
And
none of that.
Well, the sword belonged to the North, but let's not get too let's not get too deep into our World of Ice and Fire right now. Which is, I still want to buy that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Seems like it's a nice book.
It's a good companion piece
to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just a cool thing to have on your
mantelpiece.
Yeah.
Or if you're that guy, just on your coffee table, so everyone who walks in knows, I read the books. I'm better than you.
Funny story.
In Keagan's house right now, just 4 volumes of the Song of Ice and Fire. That's hilarious.
Up to Storm of Swords.
And they're not usually all there as well.
That joke would have worked so much better in video format.
It would have
been behind the camera though.
True.
Leave a like on this if you want video format.
Ooh. That's right, 6 of you.
There we go. Like and subscribe.
We're moving up. It's not 2 anymore.
There we go. There we go. You saw my comment.
I did. You salty bastard. Anyway.
But we had a lot of great series in 2017.
I think my only regret is that I'm not able to really watch as many series.
There's just no time.
I agree. Time, commitment. Same problem I have with video games. I don't feel like committing often to playing a full game from
something that's going to take you 40 hours.
It's tough. Sometimes it's easier to just sit down and put on GTA or FIFA and just mess around for an hour. Same with the series. It's tough to start a new one when you don't know if you're going to have time to finish it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And there are also some of those series that I think most people know aren't that great, but we like it because it's mind-numbing. You're cooking or, doing whatever. Just throw it on in the background and it's nice to have there. Something I've really enjoyed, but isn't really great for me. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I love having it just playing.
Sure, it's a great show to have on the
because
background.
it's very funny.
See Terry Crews do some weird stuff.
Of course.
It's great.
Big Andy
Sandberg.
Gina.
Yes.
Lene. Chelsea Peretti. Jordan Peele's wife.
Out of nowhere.
Somewhere.
Well, somewhere.
He had to get the material from Get Out from somewhere. I mean, sorry, that's presumptuous. I'm sure her family's lovely.
Didn't decapitate people. Take the brains.
Not lobotomize.
Lobotomize. That's the right word. You're right.
Yeah, we're so off track.
Come on.
Anyway, but rather than those kind of good in the background shows, let's start off by talking about our favourite series from 2017.
Let's start with the guest first.
So the guest, Neil, the guest host. For me, my absolute favourite, was definitely for me just Mr. Robot, season 3. I won't get too much into it because our self-proclaimed host, not co-host, hasn't watched it yet. Keagan has watched it, Ezra hasn't. But
disclaimer, I've watched the first season.
Yes, you've watched the first season.
There's a bit of context.
And the first 2 episodes of the second season.
Until I spoiled some of the second season for you accidentally.
He definitely did that.
I mentioned something about a prison.
Neil Bench, be careful of him. Anyway.
Yes, be careful of me. I just thought this season took a massive leap from season 3.
Yeah.
I mean season 2. Sorry, season 2. Season 2 did fall short a bit. I think it was just hard to replicate the success of the first season and having that twist.
The surprise of the first season.
The surprise of obviously. Can I get into what the surprise is? Do we assume people have watched Mr. Robot season 1, or do we not want to spoil that? I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. But there's obviously a twist to it, and season 2 tried to replicate that. The twist, in a sense, try to replicate it and do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Still a good show. Great
it's a twist that we saw coming.
Yeah, it became pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Still a great season 2 is still great, but I think season 3 really just took it to a new level for me.
Yeah.
Where every episode I was very just so invested in it, where as soon as one ended I wanted the next one, which for me a lot of the time doesn't come that easy with series nowadays. Well, just the ones that I'm exposed to easily, and I didn't want to wait for the next one. And it's not like the Netflix series that we used to where we get it all in one go. It's one that you actually had to wait for.
Wait a week, yeah.
And one episode in specific where it was just done in a continuous shot type of style, which there was not a single moment in that episode where I felt like I could look away from the screen. I felt like I had anxiety for an hour.
It's interesting though, because that technique has sort of become a bit gimmicky.
It has.
The one-er?
Yes, the one. Yeah,
the whole episode.
Daredevil did it.
Yeah.
Well, they've done segments. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it started off with True Detective in 2014. That was I think in terms of
the
TV.
breakthrough one in television,
Yeah.
doing it properly. Yeah.
Sure.
Not in movies.
And since then, so many different movies and series have tried to do it, and it can become a bit indulgent, but I think it's used quite well in Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I liked how it was done in this one.
I like it if it has some sort of purpose.
Yes, and this one I feel did have a purpose
because
you started with one character.
Yeah.
For the first half of the series, first half of the episode, and then it transitioned very well into the next character that you were following, with them two basically
it's also
joining with the two storylines joining at the end of the episode very smoothly. Nothing felt forced about the one camera take. Everything felt very natural.
It's very interesting because the real origin of the one-er, I guess, was Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, and the reason he did it was just to prove that he could do it, which is funny because now we're talking about using it for a specific purpose. When its original purpose was just someone flexing.
He had that luxury.
He had
that luxury because he was the first that did it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now I feel like it's used to create that tension and excitement.
Yeah.
And I feel like, me personally, I feel like they did it extremely well. It was executed well. Other series that they did it in was, surprisingly, weirdly enough, was Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is also it's your favorite episode, I think. The Charlie Work episode. But I just felt that the series as a whole, the characters were developed very well.
Yeah.
The finale was fantastic. Arguably the best episode in the series was the finale.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's between that one and episode, I think, was 6.
Yeah. And it's a series of great, events, crazy events that happen simultaneously.
Yeah. Yes.
As it cuts from one scene to the other, one location to the other.
Yeah.
And it's just really well executed all around. That finale.
The finale was just phenomenal finale. And just in general, the series, I mean, they had episodes that you just don't expect. Episode, I think it was episode 9 or 8.
Yeah.
Where with the young boy.
Oh yeah.
With Elliot, really getting to the roots of who Elliot is as a character, and getting to. I feel like we really learnt a lot about different characters. Tyrone Wellick, who we didn't really know much about in the other ones, besides season 1. What you saw him already.
For most of
He disappeared. He wasn't really in season 2 much. I don't remember him being in it much, but we really got to the root of his character and his motivations, and the whole God complex around the whole series. Also, I felt was really amazing, where how he just latched onto Elliot and himself as these two almost omnipotent beings in this world of hacking and everything to do with that. And I just felt it was very well done. For me, it was almost a perfect season. I can't think of really anything wrong with it personally that I disliked. I can't think of a single scene that I disliked. And it stood out for me. That's my take on Mr. Robot.
I can't add much, obviously.
You can't.
But what I will say is that especially in series where you have your episodic format, your long form storytelling. For me, the best use of that is to develop character in ways that you can't do in a movie or short film, etc. And that was the strength of the first season of Mr. Robot, which I really liked. It wasn't gimmicky or relying on its twist at the end to sort of save a mediocre season. It was pretty good the whole time.
It was.
And if there's one thing that, even though I haven't seen it, I was quite confident, about Mr. Robot Season 3, was that Rami Malek would be, just a standout performer.
Yes, and he was.
Every time.
And from what I've heard from you, and I trust your two opinions, is that he was.
He definitely was,
and I'm excited to, eventually get around to watching it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you'll have to get through season 2 first.
Yes, you will. And it's not a train smash.
Yeah.
It's just not as enthralling and as enticing as season 1 and 3.
Yeah. So let's call this, season 2 of The Wire. It's worth it.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not. I know you like it.
I've got a strong opinion on that.
Okay.
But just going back to where you mentioned that, when the long storytelling format of developing characters, I saw a few people making almost the judgment on the Wellick episode, where it developed his character throughout the whole episode. People were complaining that it felt like a filler episode.
Yeah.
And to me, I didn't think so at all. I was really invested in his character. I thought it was great, well executed, and I just think the performances were fantastic.
I think there's a
Actors all
misconception
around.
with movies and series in general that you need to move the plot forward every episode or every moment of the movie, and some moments are rich in character, some are rich in plot.
Yeah. And I'll take an episode that might seem out of place or, not as exciting as the rest, if it, then suddenly makes even the smallest, facial tick or line from a character have so much more gravitas because of something we've seen earlier.
Yes.
Those are really cool moments, and it then gives you an opportunity, in your third and final act of your season, to not only have these big events, these massive set pieces, but also these really big character moments as well. And if you don't set up for those, you don't have that payoff, and then you end up getting what we kind of did get with some of the series that we'll get into later.
I know what you're talking about, but
So
that's
cool.
Mr. Robot.
Awesome.
That's my pick.
Might as well go down the line, Keagan.
Okay, so my favorite series of 2017 was something that I started watching for the first time in 2017. It's The Leftovers.
Okay.
And I don't think I've ever seen any work of art ever connect with me on the thematic level that The Leftovers did. And that's just the cherry on top. I mean, we're getting into it's just the most ambitious season of television I've seen. The lead actors are outstanding. First of all, Justin Theroux. First of all, let me explain the premise of the series to you. The premise of the series is that 2% of the world has vanished. Right? You've seen the first season.
I've watched the first season.
You've watched the first season. 2% of the world has vanished, and a regular series would get bogged down with the scientific, the technical details of that, whereas The Leftovers just chooses to sidestep that completely and chooses to focus on its characters and how they grieve, how they work their way through their grief. And essentially it's about each of these characters working their way to becoming okay, as the series calls it, okay. And I just feel like the series in general it's trying to sort of help these characters find meaning, right? And that's really important to us in general. In the final moments of the season, we get two characters that sit together, and the one is telling the other one about a story of an experience that they went through. And we as the viewer, we don't know whether to believe this story or not. But because they're both there in that moment, that's all that matters. That's all that matters to them. And they can move forward and they can begin their journey to becoming okay. And there's so many biblical references, so many different... it's just... I can't. This is really tough for me to describe this to you
without
guys.
us having watched
without having seen the whole thing.
So it really just hit you at a very visceral place.
Yes, man. Like I've seen the things that I've seen what faith can do to someone, and my mom, and the stories that we tell ourselves when we try to ascribe meaning to things. That's what gets us through our hardships. And ultimately, that's the message I took from the show, and that's why it has to be one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I can imagine
because I've watched the first season, I can understand your struggle to articulate.
Bro, like you have no idea how hard that was for me to describe.
Without spoiling anything about,
It sounds as tough as it was when you were trying to sell me on the show too.
Yeah,
that was
man,
the most vague sales pitch I'd
it
ever
does
heard.
sound like a good show. It's hard to understand exactly where they go with it, but I like that. It's a cool premise, and I agree with you with skipping over the scientific of how the people disappeared and everything. That they just skip that whole thing because that can really like weigh down a series. If
And
we've seen
shows that do that properly, and we've seen shows that can accomplish that level of technicality. What we haven't seen is a show that strips all of that away and just gives us the characters at their core.
Okay.
And ultimately, that's it was fantastic all the way.
Again, I can't completely comment.
No, we can't.
I feel like cough break. Everything that you guys are mentioning, I've only seen the first season of. There's a weird pattern that's happening right now. But from the first season of The Leftovers, what really hit me was that when it started, my very obvious first human reaction was, what happened? How did this happen? What went wrong? And then I think it was probably about halfway through season 1, maybe even earlier. I forgot. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to
do completely.
I was like, oh man, what's Justin Theroux's character doing now? And then when he was, having these interactions with this other character, sorry, the character names are not in my head or possible, and they start having this kind of small side story, and then you've got his son and his daughter having their own things, and those twin characters are great too. I really love them. And there's so many things going on, and I felt so connected to the characters that I completely forgot that there was a mystery, and all I wanted to know was the other mysteries that get kind of introduced, which are like character and plot driven, and not really the arbiter of the entire show, the catalyst.
Ultimately, the tagline of the show is to let the mystery be. And that's ultimately where they want to take the show, is that the mystery isn't the point. Yeah.
So it's
Watch it, guys.
This show is getting it right what Ryan Johnson tried to do. And failed dismally. Keagan, your time's over. Cool, we've got to move on. Let's not argue about The Last Jedi again. I mean, we could.
I wasn't there for the argument, but let's not. Let's leave that for the
we
end.
definitely could, but let's not get into it. All right, well, I guess I'll throw one of mine out. This isn't my favorite series of 2017, but it is one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's Stranger Things 2.
Okay.
I think the biggest reason that this is on here is living up to global hype is very difficult. Most things that get hyped up to the level that Stranger Things was usually end up disappointing.
Is there any podcast of ours that we haven't spoken about hype?
I mean, it's just too relevant.
Hype affects everything.
Yeah, it's such a pervasive part of our social media-driven society. So we, not to get too philosophical about it. But I mean, Stranger Things season 1 was amazing. Completely took us out of left field, blew all of us away. I know for a fact because we've spoken about it before. Some amazing performances by some very young actors, which were impressive. Some great performances from, your Winona Riders and your sheriff guys.
The sheriff guy.
I feel horrible. I can't remember his name.
No one.
And in my mind, I was like, that's the one you don't have to put in your notes.
In the back of my mind, but I can't access it right now.
Like I just said, I don't have to put it in my notes. I'll remember that. That's such an easy name. And
But
it's
it's
gone.
not.
It was Matt Damon, wasn't it?
Might have been.
It definitely wasn't. But and I remember, I don't know, was it you that put me on to Stranger Things?
No, I think it was.
Oh wait, did I put you onto Stranger Things?
I think so. Yeah.
Someone
I was
said,
put onto it by one of you guys.
Someone
or Dylan.
said you need to watch this.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. I put it on and I binged it at night, and then I recommended it to some people. And then the next day, my sister actually came to visit me, and she was sleeping over for the weekend.
Yeah.
And we binged it again, and I enjoyed it exactly the same.
Yes.
What's his name?
His name is in the show Brenner. In real life, Matthew Modine. Oh wait, no, I've picked the wrong person.
Yeah, I think you've picked the wrong
That's the
person.
scientist.
Yes, that's the
11
that's the actual father, not the
Yeah.
Hawkins. Is that not his name?
No.
Sheriff Hawkins?
No. Hawkins is the elementary school. What?
No,
I'm so confused. Is there a picture there?
no, his name. No, I was on another thingy, another article.
But in any case,
So you think season 2 topped season 1?
I am hesitant to say that. What I will say is that it made me feel exactly the same way as the first season did.
Okay.
And I think that is so close to impossible. And the only reason I'm not saying that it's impossible is because I felt it. If someone told me that a sequel will give you the exact same feeling as its previous iteration, I tell you that's nonsense, because that's impossible.
Yeah, they can't replicate
but it replicated everything that I felt in the first one, and it exceeded that.
Added onto it, yeah.
In some parts, the addition of Max and Sadie Sink did
great
an
addition.
amazing job with Max and Max's older brother. Struggling to remember the character's name, but Dacre Montgomery completely knocked it out of the park with that classic 80s bully. But he brought actually a weird amount of emotional depth to a character that on surface level is pretty trash.
Yeah.
Kind of what we thought Joe Keery's character from the previous season was at the beginning, and it turned out to have redeeming factors. It almost seems like, the other side of that coin, what he could have been.
Yeah.
Great characterization, an amazing replacement for the Demogorgon with the Mind Flayer. Loved it.
Yes, so.
Absolutely loved it as a big bad. I thought the best performance of the season was Noah Schnapp. Is that his name?
Schnapp.
Will.
Schnapp. Yeah, Will Byers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have never seen so much nuance and deep wells of emotion.
And he's
in
the
a
youngest
child.
out of all of them as well.
Exactly.
He's a good 2 or 3 years younger than some of them.
Exactly. Everyone speaks about Millie Bobby Brown, and not to take anything away from her, I think she had another really good season. But
She did, but I think he was...
Schnapp.
Yeah, he stole the limelight.
He
this
definitely
season.
did for me.
And for me personally, sorry to
No,
interject,
go ahead.
but just the relationship between Steve and the names are
Dustin.
Dustin. Gaten Matarazzo.
Yes, so the relationship between them, I thought was just thought it was really well done. It was one that I didn't expect them to have a bond, and for that to, I thought if when it was first introduced, I thought this is just a 1 episode thing, but the theme carried along, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought it was extremely just well done. They acted along each other. The chemistry was great between the two of them. From all the promotional videos I saw on it, all the interviews, I thought that the relationship was going to be between Steve and the brother. No.
Finn Wolfhard's character?
No, the brother you mentioned earlier.
The Dacre Montgomery's
character. His character. I thought, because I didn't know there was going to be a rivalry there. I didn't see that. And in all the promotional videos, every interview I saw, they were always together, and it seemed like I'd have thought that this was going to be some sort of friendship. And I like that left field turn of completely changing Steve's character into, now he's the soft one, he's the caring one, and showing that brotherly relationship he developed with Dustin. And I thought it was just
great growth.
I didn't expect it. Great growth.
I love it when a series can sort of pair 2 characters that we've never seen interact before and set them off on their own journey, and do that to multiple different groups. I think it's fun. It's always fun to see.
Caleb McLaughlin, great chemistry with Sadie Sink. I thought that was a cool little thing. I loved the little rivalry between his character and Dustin. Gaten Matarazzo for her affection. I thought that was great. I loved how Sadie Sink was not just a ditzy girl for them to kind of get as like the goal. She was a great character with a lot of depth that I think all came to love over the season. She was one of the strongest parts of that. And that's not even to mention the flippin' adults, man.
Sean Astin.
Sean Astin.
Sean
Absolutely
Astin.
killing it.
Let's not get into spoilers about his character.
Yeah, not to
or
get into
anything,
spoilers about his character, but even outside of spoiler territory, the way that I was suspicious of him, but then I really liked him, but then wasn't sure, and then he had these great lines and interactions with other characters.
I didn't know where his character was going. I didn't know if it was a throwaway character or if he had other
Important
intentions
role.
or what it was going to be.
And his dynamic with every other character he
Yes,
interacted
yeah.
with was so good and brought out the strengths in their characters, and he was just the best addition.
Yes,
I
by
think.
far.
Yeah.
And just him being in it, and it felt like such a nice callback to he was in the Goonies, and this is a very similar styled show, obviously much darker. More intense one, where Goonies is more family friendly.
I mean, you've heard the comparison that Stranger Things is Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
It's Love Child with
Yes.
Stephen King. It's where
I
the two
see
meet.
that. Yeah. The
it's,
E.T.
it's
style.
your E.T. Along with your
horror.
Shining
Yes,
thing,
yeah.
you know, and it's great. It's a good formula.
But with the Goonies being set in a similar time period and children going off on an adventure, with him to be in it again in that type of thing, but now from the different perspective of an adult who finds all that type of stuff ridiculous. It was nice to see him acting again.
Yeah, and that's another cool little note that we like the series because it calls back to a time just before we were around. So it was a time we always heard about. Just for reference, we were all born early 90s.
Yes.
And then for people who were alive in the 80s, things like bringing in the guy from the Goonies or having these really, all the AV Club references about the technologies coming out at the time. There's really something for everyone in Stranger Things. I know my sister was actually showing my dad. She still loves my dad. She was showing it to him. He loves it. He's a relatively old guy, and he's not really into a lot of the things that we are, but he loved it, and I think that just speaks to the wide audience that it gets to. Must be said,
and
the one reason that I'm hesitant to say that it is a better season is because they definitely had a misstep with one episode.
Yes.
And everyone who's seen
it
knows the episode that I'm talking about. I think that the easiest explanation for it was it's a pilot for a spin-off.
It was.
Yeah.
They admitted that.
And
So there is actually a spin-off coming.
No,
that was the test.
That was the test, and the test failed.
Yeah.
And
I would not watch
it
that.
felt
No, they're
way
not gonna
too X-Men, New Mutants for me.
Yeah.
Very real. But I mean, not to insult the Duffer Brothers. I love what you guys are doing. Please keep it up for Stranger Things season 3. But the scene with Eleven's Indian sibling in that Chicago episode, when she's encouraging her and getting her to lift the train, is frame for frame a replication of X-Men First Class.
Yeah,
that's true.
When you've got James McAvoy's Professor Xavier and being encouraged by Michael Fassbender's Magneto to lift the thing, and that just seemed lazy for the Duffers, and that's more me complimenting them than insulting them, just because they've done such
great work
on the series. And I guess also, everyone has to buck to your network's pressure, and perhaps Netflix, did say we want to turn this into a spin-off. Can you really say no to the network that handed you that amount of money to make a series when you haven't really done much before?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a blight on the Duffers name.
No.
Nothing against it. They took a risk. It didn't work. I don't think it really affects the season that much.
No.
Which again is another crazy thing, because an episode that out of place in a lot of other seasons really throws me off.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it, so Stranger Things.
Calling back to you talking about the nostalgia aspects of it, I just want to mention, for me personally, I feel like the positive you can take out of that is they didn't ride off the nostalgia. A lot of movies and shows like to ride off that type of nostalgia where everything's a callback to have people watching and being like, oh, I remember that game. Or I think the worst example of a movie trying to take advantage of, or now movie, not series.
I know what you're talking about now.
Is Pixels. Pixels is probably one of the worst movies I've seen in the last few years. I wish I didn't watch it. And they try to do that. They try to do a similar thing where it was all callbacks to old video games that everyone remembers, Galaga, Pac-Man. And that was there to attract your nostalgia fans, and they failed. Where I feel like Stranger Things doesn't ride off that, but it's just there. It's just there in the background while everything else is going on, while they're developing characters, while they've got a great plot, great script, and there's just little references in the background for people to be, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you don't even see it on your first watching half the time. You'd have to see it on your second watching.
Exactly. And it's great because it's really something that's just going to draw people in, and they'll fall in love with the story.
Anyway,
and the Duffers, I'm sure, are confident about that because they know that they've hit something good with their story, and it's well written, and it's great.
When I sell the show to the older generations, it's, be it my parents or people at work, whatever, I usually, to sell them, I'll say, it's set in the 80s. It feels very E.T. vibes. It feels very... That old school type of scenario, and you'll recognize a lot of things, but once they start watching it, they forget about that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way, like you said, to get people in, draw them in, and then they fall in love with the rest of the show. But yeah.
Cool. So there are 2 series that we all agree on as kind of 2 of the best of 2017. We're going to talk about those now. Do you guys want to lead with the fun one? Or
let's go
the fun one
first.
Lead with the fun one?
Yeah,
all right, cool.
Less to get into with that one.
Keagan, you look most like the main character in this show.
If you don't know, Keagan looks from Indian descent, but he is not. And that's why he made that joke. You can't see what Keagan looks like.
You can't, That's why we should get video, man.
Yeah.
So these jokes land a bit better.
Yeah.
Leave
it's
a like.
really hard to make fun of one's appearance.
Leave a like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And
You just imagine what I look like for now.
follow.
But yeah, Master of None season 2. I feel like at this point, it's crazy because you'd think that the genre itself is pretty limited. Yet Aziz still finds new, fresh stories to tell us. I mean, this season we got the halal food one. That was
a great
that was a great episode. And I don't think we've seen something like that on TV.
No.
Aziz Ansari's actual cousin.
Yeah.
The cousin that he's made fun of in his stand-up comedy, his chubby cousin Harris.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah. He's definitely not chubby. Definitely not chubby.
Yeah, he's like stuck now, isn't he?
Yeah, he was in really good shape.
He was saying everything was about back. If you don't have back,
could have a wide frame.
Yeah, wide frame.
Yeah, don't say it like that when you say everything's about back.
Oh, okay. Wide frame.
Think about like Sir Mix-a-Lot and...
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I didn't want to say a girl's name, so I said Sir Mix-a-Lot. I thought that's the safest reference at this point.
But so
I think about my girlfriend when you say that, who I love a lot.
And she's listening to this right now.
Hey.
It's not live, but yes.
She's on a call in the background. Anyway, continue.
So we got that episode. We got the New York episode that focused on a whole bunch of characters we didn't know.
New York, I love you. And what was so interesting about that one for me is that this show thrives even without its main character.
Yeah.
Take Dev, Aziz Ansari's character, out of it, and the strength of its writing, its very down to earth, humanizing style of filmmaking. It just shone a light on people we had never met and completely invested in that episode from beginning to end. Beautiful.
Yeah, that episode is probably my favorite, with the second favorite being the opening episode, the first episode, the one set in Italy.
Oh, it's a wonderful episode.
Phenomenal, the one in black and white. The whole episode set in black and white. It's just, they don't tell you why, no context to it. You don't know what's going on. And I just think it showed just a really natural lifestyle, because not everyone that watched it will have known, but you two will have known that he actually went there and he lived there for quite a while. Aziz Ansari went and lived there and worked in a pasta shop. So it was completely based on actual experiences of his life, and he's mentioned in interviews and said that he'd be working there, and then someone working with him, a woman working with him, would go on his Instagram and say, "Why do you have 6 million followers on Instagram?" And just I don't know, don't know why that's there. And because he didn't tell anyone that he was famous, and obviously it seems like he wasn't that big in that little Italian town.
Modena, great town.
There we go.
Going there, cannot wait.
When
He went to the restaurant. If you guys ever watched another Netflix show called Chef's Table, the first restaurant to be featured.
Oh, with him and
Yeah,
Eric.
Francescana, that is actually where him and Eric go.
Oh, okay.
That is like the number 3 restaurant in the world.
And the car getting stuck in the...
Yeah, that's real.
that actually
You
happened.
can find that on his Instagram.
On his Instagram, yeah.
It's there.
Which is really cool. I think another great thing about the show is that obviously he has his writing partner. And then also other people getting to write, and another one of the standout episodes being written by Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually
Yes.
won an Emmy.
Yeah.
And it was just a moving story.
And
While also being really fun. And I think, again, we spoke about this a bit in our movies, but emotional depth or sadness or trauma doesn't have to be devoid of humor. There is an element of humor with everything, and I think it's part of how people deal with things. And I think it was a perfect mix in that episode, and it was really great, and I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying just now, the season gave us a bunch of new stories that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Yet it still took something as kind of familiar in recent times as a coming out story. And it felt completely new. It felt like a fresh take on it.
And just season 1 felt season 1 obviously phenomenal, but it was very dev focused a lot of the season. This one, like you said, got us to learn about the other characters a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, I'll be a bit biased because I'm a big Eric Wareheim fan. Love Tim and Eric, but learning about his character more in the second episode, I think it was.
Yes, with the...
Where he went to the wedding. When he came to visit in
wedding.
Italy and they went to the wedding. Just anything with Eric Wareheim I'm going to be biased about because he's just... I love him. He's hilarious.
He's adorable.
Yeah, he's adorable. He's hilarious. He's great. But that episode, I mean, just learning more about his character. In the first season, all you knew about his character is that he's basically Dez's goofy friend.
Yeah.
And in this one, we just really got to see more into him.
Yeah.
And it was great. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
If I can say one negative, wasn't a big fan of the romance this time.
Oh, you weren't?
I was not. No.
And why's that? I'm interested, actually.
I feel like it was a lot more generic than the first season's romance. I felt like Rachel was the perfect sparring partner.
First season's romance was better.
Oh.
I'll give it that. But I still enjoyed the second season.
Just the fact that we got an hour finale about
just
a
about
romance
them.
that I didn't technically enjoy.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will
this
counter.
will differ.
I will counter with, I think that with the writing getting better from season 1 to season 2. Again, not to say that season 1 was bad. It was just an improvement. Season 2 was really, really good. I think what we've already kind of discussed is how real the show is, how the family relationships, the friends, everything felt so natural and wonderful. And I would, put forward the idea that a lot of romances are pretty boring to people on the outside. Not every relationship is this cool fireworks thing, and not everyone's going to be this quirky, complete opposite to you, but yet you guys fit perfectly, and you have this tumultuous on and off again sexual chemistry, and then it's bad, and then it ends with you having this massive epiphany at a wedding, and then you're on a plane, and it's drama. And I think that was really good for the first season, but I think the second season was a lot more introspective, not a harsher look, but a deeper look at just people and the way that they interact on a much deeper level than the first season. The first season felt like a stand-up comedian in his first 3 years, when he's basically just going, talking to people on trains is weird, right? Have you ever been in a job interview? Whereas this felt like a veteran kind of Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Louis C.K. kind of bringing out these real issues and still making them funny. And I felt like I connected to the romance.
The season in general.
Yeah, the season in general.
Okay.
And then I felt like the romance was just a really cool extension of that, because as much as it wasn't as necessarily compelling as the Dev-Rachel relationship, I just felt the sense of realness about it every time. The awkward conversations with the language barrier, the cultural differences that ended up with mostly both characters just kind of shrugging, going, okay, and then moving on. Because I just feel like I've had those interactions.
Yeah.
I know people who've gone on a date and it kind of went like that, and then it kind of stayed like that, and then they got married. Like I felt just connected to it, not necessarily because I invested in the characters, but just because I felt it's how genuine it was, I think.
Yeah. And I think her relationship with her boyfriend that she's had.
Oh, another thing that's so real, yeah.
I think that's a very real thing. There's so many relationships like that where you just get comfortable in it because you've been in it so long, and that's it. And there might be interest other places. I feel that's a very, very real thing for a lot of people. And I felt like that doesn't get touched on often enough because it's a sensitive issue in media. I just feel the way that he touched on it, the way that he made it seem so real and natural and not forced. It wasn't like, I'm showing you this and this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's just there and you pick up on it, a lot of the things. And yeah, I agree with you. Season 2 just felt like the romance there was there the whole time. You knew that he had these feelings for the whole time, but it didn't take you away from the other plots of the episodes, because every episode had its theme, but this was always there in the background of a lot of those themes, and it was just there, but it wasn't trying to take the limelight, except that finale, obviously, that you have criticism with.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem with it. I agree the season 1 romance was better, but I think it's a subjective better.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
More comical,
of course. Yeah,
for me, a romance that I didn't really, find as compelling as the first season's romance.
Okay.
To then have an hour finale based on that romance, an aspect of the show I didn't enjoy. It's just negative for me.
I don't think it was the season 2 romance was one that you were on the edge of your seat. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm really just invested in this relationship, where seasons 1 was more like that.
Yeah.
But this one felt like it touched on maybe like real issues in a way of everyday issues.
Yeah, and I think I enjoyed that probably for the same reason that Call Me By Your Name was like my favorite movie of the year, even though it wasn't this like crazy romance. It was just a slow build, and by the end of it, I was like, man, I can totally see why that happened. You guys, this was just happening, and it's real. So yeah I guess that could be up or down for whoever's watching it. It depends on how you take that.
And finally, last point on the show. It is quite ironic, the Chef Jeff controversy within the show to then sort of mirror Aziz's controversy in real life. I don't think that should change the season retrospectively. I do think there is a degree of separating the art from the artist in this particular instance. It's a touchy subject, I know, but that's just how I feel about it. And as a result, I can still hold season 2 in high regard.
Okay. Yeah. And I think it does make a difference that I know all of us had watched this series to completion before we had heard any of the news, and even at this point we're not fully clued up on what happened and where this is going. So until we get concrete answers and confirmation on that, that's how we feel. So we'll see how that happens. We'll see if we do get Master of None season 3. But for now, I would say enjoy the first 2 seasons if you're looking for that sort of thing. And if you're not, then I'm sure there's other stuff out there for you.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And
the final one that we all have.
Yes, the final one that we all have is my absolute number 1 favorite of 2017, and that is Legion. I don't blame you if you have not heard of Legion. It was very much under the radar, weirdly. And I think it's better off for that, because I'm a filthy hipster. And
he definitely is.
The more underground something is, the happier I am.
Yeah, of course.
Like we've spoke about, we're old men and don't like hype. And the fact that I could just enjoy the show without it being tarnished and poisoned by opinions from everyone's Twitter was just great. It is a phenomenal show. I think they did such a good job to take a C-list at best X-Men character who is featured very little. I think probably because of his complicated origin.
Yeah, it's tough to tell his story.
And to turn that into what really is a masterpiece of a show, which is, I do not hesitate to say, a perfect season. Every episode was amazing. And I think the coolest thing about this is that we've seen a real boom in superhero shows.
We have.
I mean, superhero movies have been going, they're successful, pretty much a cash machine at this point. We're going to be getting Marvel movies every year, like we'll be getting Star Wars movies every year until the world ends.
At least
as long as they
Marvel
keep
movies as well, it seems.
As long as they keep making money, they'll keep spitting them out. DC, I don't know, maybe. They might stop making money at some point. They're getting very close.
Yeah, they've got their CW network shows that, cheesy as they are, they draw people in. And I'll be honest, one of them draws me in, and that's The Flash. I know it's bad, but I watch it.
And I think, so here's my issue. Well, not really an issue, but here's something that I've observed about the medium, is that the beauty of comic books is that they can, like series, tell super long form story. You don't have to tell a complete story within the pages of the one comic book, because the people who buy comic books are so invested in the world and in those characters that they'll get the next issue and the next, and they also know what happened in a comic book of another character that ties into this one, etc., etc. That's what they've really done with the Marvel movies. It's what they did well. We're waiting for Infinity War, which is a weaving together of a 10-year in the making story, multiple movies. Hats off, Kevin Feige, you're a genius. But my problem with a lot of superhero TV series, I don't even know if we call them TV series anymore, is that they really do try and make a superhero movie in every episode. Especially with the Arrow,
Flash.
With Arrow and the Flash, they'll have their main villain, their antagonist for the season. He's there at the finish line, and then every episode they encounter some sort of lower ranking enemy, or maybe it's a brush with the villain that doesn't end up with him being defeated. And every episode the hero learns something that is integral to them becoming a better hero, or accessing new abilities, or working better with their team, so that by the final episode they have all the puzzle pieces in place to really stick it to that main bad guy. And then at the end of final episode, a new main bad guy will materialize, which will motivate us to push through onto the second season of our weekly drivel. And I find that, I mean, it's okay if that's what you're looking for. I've discussed, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, also extremely formulaic. I just think it's very well done for what it is, and I'll put it on in the background. And if that's what you want, it's what you want. But if you can tell a beautifully character-driven, schizophrenic, scary, heady, really great story that was based in a comic book, then Legion is the way that you do it. I don't want to talk too long. I'll give you guys chance to weigh in.
For me, Legion, what made it so good is it didn't even feel like a comic book. A comic book show. It didn't feel like a superhero because, well, technically Legion isn't really a superhero himself. He's got superpowers, he's got abilities, but he's not so much a hero. And that really came through in the show, is that has all these internal demons, obviously, not getting into spoilers because... We want people to watch this show as much as Ezra doesn't, being a hipster. But
watch it very slowly.
And
if one of you watch it a week, I think that won't really affect my feelings on it. So.
But like Ezra was saying, with all the other shows that we're getting at the moment, and with the shows like The Flash, and The Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. Some really terrible shows in there, terrible acting, terrible effects, terrible scripts. It's, for me at least, The Flash is something to have on in the background. It's popcorn TV. It's you sit down to have your dinner or whatever it is. You don't want to concentrate on something too hard. You're a bit tired maybe after work, and you put it on. It's fun. You can miss 5 minutes because you're on Twitter or whatever, and it's not going to affect your viewing of the show. But Legion is a show that you have to concentrate, and it's not that you're sitting there forcefully trying to keep your attention on it, but it keeps your attention on it itself. You don't have to be trying. There's no forcefulness in it, and the characters are super well developed. I really liked Aubrey Plaza's character as Lenny.
Of course,
Lenny was a great character.
Unbelievable performance from her.
I think what I love most about the show is that I don't think we've ever gotten a comic book. Okay, I don't watch too many comic book shows, as you guys know.
I think
I might disagree
we're
with
definitely
you.
more invested on that.
And I might disagree. I don't know what your point is, but
I don't know if there's been a comic book show or comic book movie that's examined depression and mental illness as in-depth as this show has. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not as in-depth. Jessica Jones touched on certain aspects of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think in a very different way. Jessica Jones is probably about on the same level. In
With
terms
psychological aspects.
of, dealing with past trauma and depression.
But very differently. They do it very differently.
okay.
But again, like, I think it just should be said that they both do it. It's such a different show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both great shows, but very different.
But yeah, I mean, this sort of mental illness in this case is sort of explained away as being the parasite Farouk that latches onto him. But it may as well be a symbol for mental illness in a sense. And I think that I'm a huge fan of Noah Hawley, who created this show. And I think
are.
yes, Fargo is one of my favorite shows ever. And he brings his quirks into something pretty dark. It's a dark show on the surface of it, but he brings quirks and he brings levity into the show as well. And the reason for that is that he's put a bunch of comedic actors into the show. You've got Aubrey Plaza, you've got Jermaine Clement, you've got Gene Smart, who's mostly known for comedic work.
Dan Stevens, the main character, is also he can be very funny.
Yeah. And most of those quirks that he's introduced into Fargo translate so well here. I mean,
and even to another level, there are some madcap moments that can really take you by surprise. And I think also, especially in the earlier episodes, before you really have a feel for the tone, when you get those like crazy 180 tonal shifts, and you're just like, whoa, we're here now. But it's great. And oh man,
and it's so hard to make a surreal show like this coherent. But as the pieces keep coming together at the end of it all, everything makes sense. There's not a single thing you can think back
comes together
that feels out of place. I
mean, I've also got to say that perfect use of an unreliable narrator, perfect use of your filmography also serving the kind of path and viewpoint that you should have. It's not you don't really have to guess what specifically the main character Legion David Haller is feeling, because you always know, whether it's by audio or visual cues or just what's going on around him. You're never confused as to what he's feeling, which is great, because the show really is about him rather than some goal or some getting the team together, or something like that, which again is also very different from a lot of superhero shows, and even some of the really good Marvel ones that are on Netflix.
It was still that goal.
Do kind of fall into the getting the team together aspect a little bit, just because they had their goal of that Defenders show coming out at some point. Which isn't the worst thing ever, because there are some good performances in it from the ones that we like, and there are some bad performances in it from Iron Fist. So
Luke Cage.
I'm like, well, I mean, I didn't hate Luke Cage in Defenders. His show.
No, he was fine in Defenders. No, I didn't care. That's what. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But Legion is just it struck me like a homeless person's fever dream, man. It was just crazy. Drunken, hot sweat, punching the air, dizziness.
Don't know what's going on half the time, but loving it. Yeah,
absolutely loved it. The visuals are, but I mean, it's what we've come to expect.
Yeah, it is.
And the story and the supporting characters are really great. The Bill Irwin and Amber Midthunder.
Oh, that's such a great
Carrie and Carrie.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
they were phenomenal.
And I love how you have the sense of it, but you don't really get it, and then when you get it, it just hits
when
you.
When they explain it a bit
in the head, but also in the heart at the same time, and you just like
because you realize the relationship
that montage of her surrounded by.
Hey, are you spoilering here, or are we keeping it low key?
Okay, I guess I won't go into that spoiler.
There is a montage that is good.
Yeah, but I know the scene you're referring to, and it's moving, and that was really great. Jermaine Clement took me by surprise, but he's never done a bad job at me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was coming, and when
I didn't know he was in it.
Like, oh my gosh, that's Jermaine Clement.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to see past him sometimes.
You kind of spoiled that for.
Well, he's in.
Well, it's on the cast listing.
You don't know. You don't know who he is, and you don't know when he's going to pop up. We're not going to mention that.
Yeah, but I will say that every time he was there, I just thought he was going to sing a Bowie song at some point. Flight of the Conchords has ruined me in that respect. Bowie's inspired. I thought it was coming, but it wasn't. But yeah, Legion. I think no matter what type of series you're into, I think it's worth a watch.
Something in it.
I think everyone will enjoy it. And I think it's a perfect 10.
Yeah. For me personally, what I really liked about it is that it's not, like I said, it's not a comic book character that everyone knows, but nothing about it made you want to like try and connect it to the rest of the universe, of the comic book universe. It didn't matter. It stood on its own very well. And I mean, I don't think they even explicitly say what they are. Can I mention what they are? Like,
oh, you know, yeah, you can. That's
They're
not gonna give
mutants.
away. Yeah,
they're mutants.
yeah.
But I don't think they really use the term mutants in it, do they?
No, I think that
They do.
that guy does.
They
That
do.
interrogator guy.
Oh yes, he does.
Yeah. I think
The
he's
Chuck
one.
guy from Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's the whole. You're not focusing on the fact that they're mutants the whole time, and that this is connected to Wolverine and Storm, because it just doesn't feel connected to them. And I think it's got the perfect amount of connection. They put probably, I think, one reference to other characters in the X-Men universe.
And that's enough.
And it's enough, and it's a very subtle reference as well. It's one that you don't, it's not in your face.
Yeah.
I thought it was, I like that about it. It's not, there's a lot of shows that try to throw in reference. Look, look here, there's like The Flash. That's, there's Wayne Industries over there, means Batman's in this universe. Or
Here's your reward for being a nerd. Like, take this dopamine.
Yeah, where this is just, it appreciates good TV, good series making, and I thought I like that about it. It's not pandering. It wasn't pandering at all.
Yeah. So final consensus: watch Legion, man.
Watch Legion.
Yeah. Don't care about my feelings on this being a hipster thing. Just watch it. It deserves as much success as it can get. I think.
It does.
Yeah. It should be spoken of more highly.
Yeah.
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 Neil, do you have another favorite you want to throw out there?
Well, my other favourite, I'll mention a different one, but the other favourite was also going to be Stranger Things 2, which you mentioned. But one that I'll throw in there, but it doesn't quite reach my really top 3 properly. And unfortunately... But the reason it doesn't reach it is what we mentioned earlier. It's the hype, and the hype really...
Are you about to say...
It's Rick and Morty.
It's Rick and Morty.
Or
that was my other one.
Yeah, sorry.
No, but that was
Okay, but we can discuss it
thing.
both the same. And it doesn't get there because really the fans, and I don't want to be that broken record because it's been touched on so much over the internet that the fans are really annoying with the whole I'm Pickle Rick, and you have to be really smart to watch it, because you don't have to be really smart to
Not
watch
at all.
it. There's a lot of toilet humor in it. There we go. Some
self-deprecating
humor. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's
He's colored
you
blue.
don't
I'm sorry.
you don't have to be a genius to watch it.
Not at all.
But
no.
because like Justin Roiland will say himself, and Dan Harmon will say themselves, they're not geniuses. They're comedic geniuses. I'll give them that, but they don't know the science to it, and they say that they don't care about the science to it. They often get questions about the different inventions of Rick at Comic-Con and wherever they are, and they don't have answers. They just say, well, it does that because we write that it does that. They don't care about the physics behind it, and I appreciate that. It's a show. It's just what it is.
Yeah. I think
And
you lose the essence of your joy
when you're trying to
if you're trying to explain away the cartoon scientist.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
You should just
And-
enjoy it. Yeah.
But the hype killed it for me. One that a lot of people disagree with me, but probably maybe my second least favorite episode is probably Pickle Rick episode, which a lot of people love, and you love it. I'm assuming.
I mean, I do love it.
But
It's just...
I feel like I would have probably loved it if it wasn't turned into a meme on every piece of social media that I went onto, even with people that I know don't watch Rick and Morty, and they're posting videos of Pickle Rick.
In a perfect world, we'd be able to view all these series in a bubble.
Yeah.
And not,
Because that affected my viewing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same reason I don't like Thinking About You anymore. Great Frank Ocean song, but I've heard it 20,000 times.
Yeah.
And I can't listen to it anymore without thinking, ugh. Yeah, it's the Wonderwall
Again,
of series.
we hate
Rick and
popular
Morty.
shit, in other words. Basically what
No,
we're
we're
saying.
not.
It's where people overhype things too much. They share it too much, and obviously Rick and Morty is a fantastic show and it should be shared.
Yeah.
But don't ruin it for everyone else by overdoing it. And
I think also it should be said that we're not a fan of just toxic fans, man.
Yeah.
Whether that be for games or movies or series, or even bands, like we can get very touchy about all those sorts of things. But if someone's enjoying something, let them enjoy it, and don't try and convert people, man.
And don't yell at McDonald's employees asking for Szechuan sauce because you didn't get any.
Yeah. And also, in what world is that funny?
It's not.
Like, man.
It's really not funny.
I enjoyed the episode with the Szechuan sauce, the episode that came out on April Fool's.
Yeah.
It's probably my second favorite episode of the season. And the fans just ran with that Szechuan sauce thing. And it was, McDonald's, actually, I blame more McDonald's. Let's blame, to an extent, let's blame McDonald's because before they sold it, obviously the fans ran with it even further. But McDonald's decided to go along with the meme of it, and the fans they were insane. Luckily we're not in America where that happened, but anyway, that's me.
Keagan, do you have one more to throw in?
Better Call Saul. I think it's hard to do a prequel. It doesn't lean too much onto the original, and it expands.
Which is Breaking Bad, if you didn't know.
Which is Breaking Bad, if you didn't know.
And I can say the same things about young Sheldon. I mean,
oh no!
Perfect way to do. I'm sorry, I take that back. But anyway, carry on with it.
But I feel like season 3 of Better Call Saul was its best season yet. And it found a way to expand the universe, like I said, without leaning too much on Breaking Bad, even though it has brought some fan favorites of Breaking Bad into the show. It's given meaningful arcs to some of its new characters, which I love, because it's setting us up for tragedy, because we know that those new characters aren't going to be there come Breaking Bad.
It's bittersweet watching the show.
And it's a wonderful place for the show to be in. It's quite compelling. Yeah.
Okay, another show that you're going to mention that I watched the first season of.
I'm going to be that guy that hasn't even watched much of Breaking Bad. So I feel terrible about that.
And I'll be honest, I didn't stop watching because I didn't like it at all. I freaking loved that first season. It's just time, man. I don't have... Because those are long episodes.
Yeah, it is.
Very long.
And it's not short season. And it's just a time investment. And at some point... I'll be financially secure and not going from job to job, slight sleep, job, and then I'll definitely give it a watch. It's on my list, and I think it should be on. Anyone who enjoyed Breaking Bad should be on your list. I think
it's so weird because at the beginning, when the show was being conceptualized, I was just wanting Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul to be a part of the show in some way. Now I really don't care because
it'd probably actually ruin it a bit, maybe, if they brought them in.
Look, I think they plan to bring them in like cameos or something.
Yeah, no, but if it's like that, but I mean, if they try and bring
like
them
a little
in
Easter egg or something.
Fully fledged characters.
Like if one of them come in to a gas station, maybe at the same time.
That's exactly what they're going for.
Yeah.
But
okay,
cool.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you there. I think I probably would be on the same page as you.
You guys would be if you'd seen it.
Yeah, cool. All right, now to move into very negative territory. I'm excited. I love this. P.
I love trash talking things.
T-Y. I'm petty. Hey, I'm excited to do this.
You did spell that right.
I did. So I thought about it before I did it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
We're just going to talk about our most disappointing series quickly before we get into the big one. That is the White Elephant in the Room, that because we are friends, we know we are all going to mention. I'll just throw another one out quickly before that. And it is Marvel's Netflix show, The Punisher.
I didn't watch it.
I was a big fan of Daredevil. The first season was great. The villain was great. The action was great. Hallway scene... fight scene, just stunning. Great one-er also in one of those episodes, not a whole episode, but just a shot, a nice long fight scene cut.
Talk about the villain.
I say great villain, but it was very much embarrassing.
You got a hallway fight scene. I apologize. All you need now is a stairwell scene. You've got like the Holy Trinity.
Was it? It is on a stairwell. That's season 2. That's season 2.
Yeah, season 2. They give us
season 2.
Oh, of course,
stairwells. they did the hallway scene, but on a stairwell.
And
great. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it really was. Very funny that Daredevil's choreography is streets ahead of Iron Fist, where that's that character's thing.
Only thing.
Best martial artist in the world.
Imagine Spider-Man being your second favorite web swinging scene. That's how this feels. But speaking of season 2, one of the best parts about Daredevil season 2 was the inclusion of the Punisher. His character was amazing. He was played by
John Bernthal.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, he did a great job in season 2.
Thanks, mate. Who has been a favourite of mine ever since. I mean, Neil and I, we were watching Walking Dead
yeah,
back in 2011. No, I'm like, what did I say? 2012, sorry.
Was it?
Yeah, we started watching
we did
in 2012. And he was a highlight of season 1 and
only one
for me. I thought he was really good. Great performance in Wolf of Wall Street. There's a lot of good stuff from him. Sicario. Yeah. And then when he was cast as the Punisher, I was pretty confident. I was like, I think he's going to do a good job. Yeah. And he knocked it out of the park.
He did.
It was an absolutely stunning performance, completely spot on to the...
Talking about Daredevil season 2, right?
Yeah, in Daredevil season 2. A meaningful arc, even though he didn't really feature all that much. He was very much a fringe character.
Yeah.
Almost a catalyst for the events of the season, but was still really good. And when they announced that he was going to have, a spin-off show, I was excited. I really, really thought it was going to be great because I had already seen this character in action. I had already seen the actor, bring his A game playing the character, and I know the character's tragic backstory, and it should have made for good television. I didn't have unbelievably high hopes for this because, as we've spoken about, there have been some missteps from the Marvel television outings. Whether we're talking about your Iron Fists, slightly controversial opinion, I guess, Luke Cage, some people like it. Definitely no one's jumping on the Inhumans train. That was the worst thing to happen to television.
I didn't bother with it. It looked just bad. Good actors, but bad.
So I think the worst thing about The Punisher is my expectations weren't even that high. And it was trash.
Really?
Unwatchable. I got 3 episodes in. Don't bother. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. Wow. Well,
starting off very
mine isn't as harsh as that. Mine was more disappointing on a personal level, simply because I have such high expectations for the show that this season just didn't quite match up. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's Fargo season 3. Season 1 and season 2 was so clear with their premise and their character motivation. And then season 3 came along, and I just feel like the basic premise of it, 2 brothers arguing over a stamp, boiled down. That's what it boils down to. I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but that and just, I don't know, the lack of a proper strong villain for me. Just everything. I just don't think everything worked as well as it should have. All the ingredients were there. Ewan McGregor playing twins. Come on, does it get much better than that? Mary Elizabeth Winstead kills everything she's in. Carrie Coon from The Leftovers, also great. But yeah, it just didn't quite land the way season 1 and 2 did. It still gives us trademark Fargo sequences. I mean, some nods to all the Coen brothers movies like The Big Lebowski. One particular episode shows some characters being stalked through the woods by some hitmen, and that's just like trademark Fargo, and it's beautiful. But yeah, ultimately just not quite up to the season 1 and 2 standard. And yeah, disappointing, slightly.
Yeah. All right.
For me, for my first ones, I'll mix them together because they're interrelated and they came out so close to each other. More Marvel series was Iron Fist and Defenders. The two of them, I'll latch them together because it really came out so quick after one another. I had very unfortunately high hopes for Iron Fist. He's a really cool character, very interesting character. Wasn't a massive fan of Luke Cage, and I was okay with that. It wasn't like I was super excited for Luke Cage. I really liked him in Jessica Jones. Great character in Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Not overused, not underused, just enough. And after him being in that and knowing that him and Iron Fist are supposed to team up and be the heroes for hire, I was excited, and Iron Fist it disappointed on basically every level. The fight scenes were very boring. The acting wasn't great. It felt like he was whispering in every scene he was in, but at like normal speaking volume, so it was strange. I don't know. Just my opinion on him. I don't know. And nothing felt like it worked in it. And I mean, Daredevil had been all about the what was the order?
The Hand.
The Hand, which is basically like the Marvel version of the Yakuza, I guess, because they are Yakuza. They do mention them being Yakuza.
Or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Hand, definitely the same
foot.
hand. The Foot.
That's the Foot Clan. Shredder is the leader of the Foot Clan. Hitting you up with some deep cuts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lore, because I'm all about that. Hashtag Team April.
Okay. The Megan Fox version? Or?
Oh, no, of course not. Cartoon version, man. Oh.
But yeah, anyway, back to... it fell flat on almost every level. The Hand was great, the mystery of the Hand in Daredevil, and when they expanded on it, it just didn't meet expectations in
the Defenders.
In Iron Fist, and then Defenders, and then back to Defenders now. Defenders, I feel like the Defenders basically was the Avengers version for TV, but Avengers I feel earned it a bit more, and the TV version of it, the Defenders, was on their way there. Started off super strong with Daredevil, very strong. For me personally, started off the second one, which was even better for me, was Jessica Jones. That's my favorite out of all of them. Great show. Now we had two really great developed characters. Luke Cage got added within Jessica Jones. I was happy with it. And then it just fell apart there. And with them bringing out the Defenders so soon after Iron Fist, the failure of Iron Fist as well, it just felt rushed. It felt like it wasn't earned. The teamwork between them didn't feel earned. They felt very rushed into working together, which felt odd. We got maybe 2 scenes of them all fighting together. Did you watch it?
What, the Defenders?
Yeah. I think we got one in, I think, like the 3rd episode.
And then
and then one in the finale, without spoiling anything, although don't watch it. Forget about it. Just go watch Jessica Jones.
Forget about it.
And I think...
That's my Italian accent, in case you're wondering. I can do that on demand.
You're going to do that for the intro.
I can do that on demand. You can email me, available. Anyway, keep going. I can totally play in Italian.
Don't pay him for it. Don't pay him for it.
It's 2018. I can
It's
play
cultural appropriation, but we'll get past that.
Oh, jeez.
More Iron Fist controversies. But yeah, Defenders, I was very excited for it, to see this team of heroes, particularly the first 3, not so much Iron Fist after watching it. And they cut it down to 8 episodes, which the rest of the season had, I think, 10 or 11. The rest of the series, and there wasn't enough time to get invested in the relationships between these characters. They rushed it, and it didn't do justice to the MCU. So
I think my biggest disappointment from the Defenders was I was really hoping that they were going to fix Iron Fist in it. The same way that, we spoke about this. I feel that Marvel kind of fixed Thor through his teaming up with other heroes, because that's how you can explain his new fun, humorous attitude is his time with the Avengers. You know? He spent all this time with these quirky, fun human beings. He wants to fit in with them because he really cares about that realm. So he becomes this person. And I thought they were going to fix Iron Fist in the same way, having Danny Rand around some other people with similar motivations, some of strong convictions, same as him. Abilities, fighting for the same cause. I thought that teamwork was going to change him. It really didn't. He's still a twat at the end.
Still, the best character in it was Daredevil and Jessica Jones. And didn't learn too much more about Luke Cage. Nothing more really about Luke Cage, but he was still solid in it. He was okay.
Still breaking beds.
Yeah, he was.
Oh boy. Anyway,
he's a big man.
Yeah, I think that's
enough out of Defenders and Iron Fist.
Great. So let's move on. For all of us, I think probably the most disappointing show for 2017 is season 7 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Where do we even begin?
Just
don't offend all the fans that blindly watched it and loved it.
Yeah, well, so here's a quick disclaimer for you. This is not like a guilty admission. This is not us bucking a trend. All 3 of us honestly believe this was a disappointing season.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean,
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't. I guess they've got their new fan base. They've got a whole bunch of people now that watch the show and don't watch it in as much detail as, you know, people like us do.
Who've
And
read
that's
the books. And
yeah, not
gone
just
more
that,
into
but just
detail or just
yeah,
appreciate.
yeah. And yeah, ultimately they've made a bunch of decisions that just pander towards fan service.
Episode 6.
Yeah, I mean that was the most train wreck, the biggest train wreck, the most train wreck. My goodness,
The most train
the
wreck
most train
show.
wrecked.
Everyone go watch Trainwreck.
Yeah, which was just one big exercise in fan service. I mean, we can talk about all the logical leaps, and it's just a complete disaster. That episode in itself didn't have to happen in the first place.
There's no logic.
And
no logic.
Yeah, and I feel like the lack of logic there is also that we can get a spectacle north of the wall.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, that it just doesn't need to happen. It could have been avoided. There could have been a better way to write it. And
I
yeah,
wanted to just do Hard Home, but bigger.
in a sense, yeah.
And it really felt like it. It really felt like a very lazy cop-out version of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
A similar end, if
Indeed.
you will.
Very, very similar
Very
end,
similar.
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're almost identical.
Pretty
just on
much.
a bigger scale.
Yeah. A carbon-dated copy. That's a freezing joke for you guys.
I guess.
Hey?
I don't appreciate it.
Cool you off. That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger from Batman
That's
joke.
a great movie, Bat Nipples.
I think for me, because I've seen a lot of defense of the show online, and I have not really two questions. My one question is, if you loved the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones,
The Holy Grail.
how do you love what's happening now?
Yeah.
Because that has such a beautifully slow-burning, wide-reaching, amazing, epic story going on. And we've devolved into, dare I say it, the same realm as these superhero shows that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where every episode we're waiting for really heated, snappy dialogue between 2 characters in a confrontation.
Yeah.
A young fight in the middle, and then a massive epic set piece at the end. And that's your perfect Game of Thrones episode, when it really isn't. We've come to love so many of these characters,
There you
good and bad,
Yeah.
seeing their motivations and their interactions with each other. And I saw one thing online which particularly ground my gears, boiled my blood. It was someone said one needs to give props to Game of Thrones for bringing all these different characters and storylines together. And you really don't. Because they were written so well by George R.R. Martin that they already fit together in the perfect tapestry.
Yeah.
And instead of continuing that perfect tapestry, someone else was like, let's just fold it and make another copy of the top bit for the bottom. And I don't appreciate it. Just Sophie Turner. Sorry, I know this might be brutal.
That's one of the weakest aspects of the season was that
plot line.
plot line. Yeah.
Mate, taking one of probably the most hated characters in the beginning, not because of a fault of Sophie Turner's. It's just her arc is annoying for people. She was an annoying character.
Yeah.
And then redeeming her in such a grand fashion that just underwhelmed everyone.
Yeah.
Taking Arya's plot line from this weaving story of tragedy and triumph
Made
into
no
now
sense.
just like, I mean, like
She's there now.
she's just there.
Yeah.
Her motivations are so unclear.
Nothing made sense.
Her allegiances are completely unclear. I don't know what she wants. I don't know who she likes. Bran is just annoying now.
Yeah.
His motivations are also completely unclear. And we're being made to feel as if all the loose ends are being tied and the story is coming to a close, while also it's unraveling somewhere else.
It is.
And I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sad.
For me, the downfall of season 7 comes down to
Dragons. Sorry, go on.
spoilers.
We've already
No, I just
discussed.
okay. Everyone's watched it. No one caring about
Literally.
this.
This is
Literally
But,
everyone's watched it.
The biggest downfall for me comes that it's not character driven anymore. It's plot driven because obviously everyone knows they're not following the books anymore because there are no books at where we are at the moment. So they've been given a basic outline of where they need to get to, and they're filling in the gaps themselves. They're following a plot. Where the greatest thing for me about Game of Thrones originally, The Song of Ice and Fire, is that every action that a character makes sense because of the character.
Yeah.
It's not I'm doing this to further the plot. It's I'm doing this because this is who I am, and I think that's the whole basically plot of Ned Stark is he's a man of character and he's a man of honesty.
Yeah.
And the cause of his death is basically that.
Yeah.
Is he dies because he was honest. And now they're just doing these stupid things that episode 6, nothing made sense.
Yeah.
That makes no sense for any of those characters to do any of those things. Stuff with Arya makes it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Littlefinger.
Yeah.
He would never... His character would never do it wouldn't end up that way.
Yeah.
Varys what is Varys doing?
He's doing nothing.
He's doing nothing. He's sitting doing nothing. Tyrion.
Yeah.
He's giving advice that gets ignored every episode.
And I think what this really boils down to is a weakness in writing. And just to throw some positivity on it, I don't think it's the fault of the writers.
I don't think it is either.
When they were given a year to take an already written book to turn into a script, they did a good job. And expecting them to both come up with an end to this story that's been in the making for a good 20 years, and also at the same time write a compelling script.
Yeah.
And that all has to be in time for, costume and visual effects and, hiring extras. And I mean, this is a wide-reaching shoot and all that. It's just not possible to do this right anymore.
It isn't.
It can't be filmed properly in its current format. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to concede defeat on this one. There's no chance of it.
I'm glad that they're taking a bit extra time, but still it's going to be hard to save.
Having said that, we all know... Well, not all, sorry. Don't know about you, young listener, but the three of us know we're going to be disappointed by Season 8. The three of us also know we're going to watch Season 8.
Yeah, no, we're still going to... It's still a great show,
that is the crux of what this is Game of Thrones, for us, was disappointing because we all have fallen in love with the series and it's one of our favorite IPs, and... It's only disappointing because we had such high hopes for it. Because, even though it had been on a bit of a downward slump.
Oh, Season 6 was... I was happy with Season 6.
It was
Season
okay.
5 was...
but...
5 and 6 were middling.
Season 6 was still better than 5, I think. But,
but 4 is the peak.
If I can mention my last thing about Game of Thrones, and I don't know if you've seen this interview with the creators, the writers. Or,
Benioff and Weiss.
There we go. The polar bear scene. Do you remember the polar bear scene?
Yeah.
I think it's ingrained in all our memory for bad reasons. I feel bad reasons for me. Well,
wasn't the most annoying part of that.
It wasn't the most annoying part, but it was there, and it was just there.
Yeah.
And there's an interview where they mentioned why they did that, and it had nothing to do with any plot. It had nothing to do with characters. They said that they'd for a while, for seasons, been wanting to have a zombie polar bear. And this was the easiest way that they could put it in. And they said, well, let's do it. We can put it in here. There was no furthering the plot, no building characters. It was just it will be cool. We'll like it. Fans will like it. Let's do it. And it boils down to that for me. They're doing a lot of things that look cool and that fans will enjoy.
Yeah, look, I'm perfectly in favor of making weird decisions and ignoring logic when it serves character, when it serves the theme.
Ryan Johnson, you're the only one who likes it. Go on.
That ties in perfectly.
He's not the only one who likes it.
I mean, you're definitely not. Looper was great.
And I'm still happy with The Last Jedi.
Yeah. But when you ignore logic, when you throw character out the window just to drive drama and just to drive spectacle, that's when it starts to annoy me. They threw Jon Snow's effectiveness as a battle commander out the window. They threw Tyrion's effectiveness as a strategist out the window.
As a what?
Strategist. He just pronounced it like a fancy man.
A strategist. Oh, no.
Okay.
Well, la-dee-da.
Paper and
But yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys.
Carry on, Keagan, with all yours.
But yeah, I just that was disappointing, man.
If you ever want to see who they're pandering to, the exact fans who they're pandering to, if you're not one of them, you might be, and then don't look this up. Go on YouTube and just search the bar reactions, people watching it in a bar.
Oh yeah.
There's videos of people watching the end of episode 6 in a bar. There's videos of people watching the Mountain and the Viper episode in a bar. You can't hear
Daenerys Jon sex scene in a bar. Just
You
watch that
can't.
in a bar.
The people watching in a bar, they can't hear. They're all dressed up. A lot of them are dressed up in Game of Thrones things. They're watching it for the first time. It's airing live in the US. They can't hear a thing because there's like 60 people in that bar, everyone screaming and drinking. And they're just watching action and everyone having these crazy reactions where they go, oh, that's great, and screaming. But they don't care about the character, they don't care about the script, they care about the spectacle. And that's who they're pandering to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I guess just to last thing, but just to bring up almost a similar problem with the Star Wars thing, is that at this point they've gotten us far too invested in all of these characters and all of the mystery and the intrigue, where if you start explaining it away without giving us what we've been coming for, and it's not something that we've brought on ourselves or we've gone too deep in it. These are things that we are being shown and promised a resolution, and when the resolution is Daenerys ex machina, it's becoming very, very difficult to.
That's his third Star Wars reference tonight. He's like begging us for a podcast.
Yeah, and he's wearing a Star Wars shirt right now with the cow from the new one that's milking. I'm joking.
It's the best scene.
I wish that was true. I wish I was wearing that shirt.
It's Darth Vader.
Those are our most disappointing. Does anyone want to throw out another quick one?
I'll just list a quick one. And for me, I don't know. You might agree. I think we discussed a bit earlier, and you'll probably agree as well because you've crapped on the show in the past. Silicon Valley this year. Not saying it was a bad show. Still, it was a great television. It's still better than turning on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Sorry to compare.
It's not even close.
You can't compare them.
Yeah.
You can't compare them. Just similar characters based on ethnicities.
And they're smart.
That's
pretty much the only parallel.
Yeah. But the thing that made it disappointing for me is that, and I mentioned it to Keagan earlier today, is that I don't remember much about what happened in the show. I don't know where we left off really.
Yeah,
I'd have to really think about it and actually Google it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. It used to be for me a really quotable show. I mean, there's plenty of quotable shows that for me, Scrubs is my all-time favorite, probably to quote. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, shows like that. And this one used to be season 1 and 2, still parts of season 3. And season 4, I don't remember much about it, and that's the biggest problem for me. Still not saying it's a bad show. I still enjoyed it, I still looked forward to it, but it came out the same night as Game of Thrones, and it always has for the last few years.
Yeah.
And it used to be a toss-up with which one I was looking more forward to. And as bad as Game of Thrones was this year, I still looked forward to watching it more than I did Silicon Valley when it came out on the day. And for me, still a great show, but it disappointed.
I think they've settled into a pattern in that show. It looks like Richard's making a bit of progress. He gets knocked down, then he pivots, and the next season starts that way.
Yeah,
that was a good
cool
episode.
reference.
Cool reference from season 1. Great reference from season 1. But
it's just the whole board just gets
there's nothing more to do
at the beginning of every season.
It's the same thing.
And even more than that, even if they had stuck to that particular formula for the season, I wish there were more moments in the episodes where I was really rolling on the floor.
And they weren't.
The first 3 seasons.
I never even uttered a guffaw once.
Yeah. No, you might have. You just don't remember it because it was forgettable.
No, I really don't think I ever uttered a guffaw.
It was just silent watching, that's humorous type thing.
Yeah, watching season 4 of Silicon Valley was when you're just invested.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I've got
too
to see
far
how
in.
this ends.
But it's getting to the point that it got for me and it's a show that probably neither of you like. But I used to like Suits, and I used to like Walking Dead.
I loved Suits at the beginning, and I loved The Walking Dead.
Yeah, there we go. So it's getting to that point. I loved it at the first, and then I just didn't care anymore, and it's getting like that in Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
and that's basically me for that. And the one that I wanted to mention earlier that it made it on my best list and my worst list, and it's just episode 7 of Stranger Things season 2, like we spoke about earlier, the Chicago episode.
Oh, it's so bad you're throwing it in.
Just the episode by itself. The rest of the show is great. It was bad.
Fair.
Ignore season. If you haven't watched season 2 yet, if you're listening to this of Stranger Things, skip episode 7. It has no effect on the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Just know that
It's like the Canto bite
that 11
Stranger Things.
11 went somewhere and she came back. Yes. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. If you didn't hear that, do you want to just repeat that?
Can you lean in a bit closer to the microphone and say
Whisper
that?
it sensually.
I said it was the Canto bite of Stranger Things.
The worst plot in any Star Wars good movie. I'm saying good movie. It was still a good Star Wars movie.
I think that
I don't even agree. I don't even know why I said that.
No, it was a good movie, but that was terrible.
It's the worst plot line of any Star Wars movie. What's a sequence from a prequel that's worse than the Canto Bite sequence?
Any sequence of Jar Jar. Jar Jar fighting people with his stupid flailing about sequence. Oh, Misa hit your gun and shot that guy. I'm surviving in an army of thousands of droids.
So what you're saying is that Jar Jar as a character is bad.
Sequence. I'm saying that sequence.
Okay, don't shout.
I'm sorry.
Jar Jar as a character is bad. That sequence is the war for Naboo, not bad as Canto Bite as a sequence.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's worse ones in the prequels.
Yeah.
Any sequence with them sitting in the council.
What we've discovered here, guys, is that we need a Star Wars podcast. At some point.
At some point.
Get Dylan in for that one.
Yeah, that'd be
He has a
great.
lot to say.
Okay.
That'd be great.
But anyway, we'll move on from that.
Just to finish off on a positive note, like we said, we're moving forward into 2018. We're now burning that douchebag stuff. We're not going to look back on him and his stupid, gotta do it in the back of the car ways. And we're going on to better things.
Extending the metaphor from like an hour and a half there.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
100%.
Cool.
When I commit, I commit.
Unlike that guy that you're talking about.
Exactly. And that's why we just need someone new in our lives. And hopefully these series will be them. Neil, hit us up with one of these series you're looking forward to.
My first one is coming out in the next few weeks, is Jessica Jones Season 2.
Yes.
I'm so excited for this show. It's just, the first one blew me away. Best for me personally, not everyone will agree with me, but out of the MCU, he's the villain they had in Season 1 of Kilgrave. It's my favorite villain. Almost like the show's villains have just been great with him, Kilgrave and Kingpin. And Kilgrave's my favorite. Just the psychological aspects to it. And I'm just so excited to see where we go from that with Jessica Jones Season 2.
Okay.
Kristen Ritter is a phenomenal actress, and she does great justice to the character of Jessica Jones.
She does.
And I've liked the spin that they've taken on it, with Jessica Jones still being a PI like she is in the comic books, but not having to wear the whole superhero costume and be the typical superhero. Yeah, I'm going to save the world. And she's a real person who doesn't want this upon her, and she's struggling with alcoholism and depression and just hatred for her own actions that she's committed. And I'm excited to see where they take that. She was the best part about her and Daredevil, best part about Defenders, her on her own again. I'm excited. I'm really excited for him.
That was on my
still
list
needs
too.
to watch Season 1.
I do, yes.
That was also on my list.
There we go, and it's in the next
very
one.
much looking forward to Jessica Jones Season 2. I think it's going to be great. I think the world that it's built up for her, which, I mean, it's a small world, after all.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's very, small, claustrophobic at times, which just serves the character well. Really puts you in her shoes, and it's great. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with it.
Yeah, so I actually just learned about this series recently. It's called Maniac. It stars Jonah Hill, Emma Stone, Justin Theroux. I mean, those are
cast.
Those are massive
There's
actors.
those movie actors jumping.
Have we
over
seen
to
Jonah Hill in a TV show? Have we seen Emma Stone in his TV show? I don't think we have.
Might
They
be.
went
When they were
straight to
young.
movies.
Yeah, it's possible there is, but I haven't
Maybe
seen
when they were young, but
Yeah.
nothing since.
It is directed by the guy who directed the entirety of True Detective season 1.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
rare in TV. We usually see different directors
yeah.
for each episode.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, Singular Vision. That benefited True Detective season 1. Yeah, and then season 2 is a train wreck. Partly because Cary Fukunaga left it, who is the director. Also attached to the project is a Leftovers writer as well.
Oh, wow, this is just
Checking all
a
your
melting pot
boxes.
for you, yeah.
Yeah, this is like everything for me.
They get access to like your Google searches?
Yeah, I think so, man. Yeah, it's protective shit, people. And it's apparently a surreal show as well. Another box ticked. It's about a dude in a mental institution who lives
go.
in his fantasies, like
Legion?
Yeah,
Wow. This really is...
this is
Cool.
checking
When's it-
every
do you know
single
when it's
box.
I have one question. Why haven't we heard about this?
Why haven't you told us?
What's the vibe? Like, why is this so under wraps?
I have no idea. I really don't.
When in
Like,
2018 is their date?
I don't know. I think it's within the next few months. I think. I'm not sure though.
Oh, that is
but there's
very
very
interesting.
little information online. But
Okay.
Is
so
it,
that's
is it an
probably why.
HBO or what is it? Do you know?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah.
I feel like they would be advertising that more. They love to advertise.
Man, that is
True.
interesting.
But that's
Right.
because they don't have any trailer or anything for it yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they're still in early stage.
Probably still shooting.
Yeah.
Not even in post yet. So
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look out for that.
Now
Look
I'm
out for
looking
that.
forward to
Excited
it.
for that. Cool.
Yeah.
Add that to our list.
Okay.
Um,
Can I throw one out quick?
You go for it. No, you
kind
do
of
it.
jumped on
You
your
do
one.
it. No, yeah.
I think this one is for all of us as well. Atlanta, Robin season.
Robin season.
Good Lord, Atlanta was amazing. I kept Googling it, hoping one of the episodes had come out in 2017 so I could add it to my list for this. I could not.
Just one episode would make the list for best.
then it's the whole season, technically a 2017 season. But Atlanta was great categorically. Again, an amazing show. It's like Master of None,
but
in that
surreal,
it's
more
just
surreal.
telling real stories. It's anything that happens that is crazy or outlandish is still very much rooted in this feeling of like, yeah, this is just life.
Yeah.
It's a show I would feel comfortable showing children because I don't think it shows them anything outside of what I am 100% sure they will experience before they're 20. These are all just real things. These are real things that you'll feel when you're presented with a situation. These are real actions that some people have to take in order to live. These are the real ways that
Yeah, to be
life
fair,
happens.
you could actually show it to children. It's not ever gratuitous in its offensiveness at any point. So yeah, that's one I'm also looking forward to.
I'm excited for it. That, I mean...
And must be said that the
Donald.
teasers,
Yeah, the teasers have been on point. Have you seen the latest one?
I have.
Your favorite Yellow Days soundtrack?
Right in there.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to tease. He knows how to do everything.
He knows how to tease.
He knows how to
TV.
Donald Glover knows how to tease me.
But I mean, I was reading an article a little while ago. I think it was from the Rolling Stones, and they just said like he could have named this show anything. He could have named it the most outlandish name, and we'd still tune in to watch it.
Which he did, Robin season.
Well, Robin, he did.
I mean, sorry,
Nobody knows what that's
was
about.
that just an article written by the band The Rolling Stones?
No, the magazine.
That's Rolling Stone. There's no.
Did I
S on
say
that.
Stone?
You did.
Sorry, Rolling Stone.
Yeah, there you go.
The band did not write that. But I mean, like Donald Glover is just that man is too talented, and he is the only good thing about that solo trailer. I'm just gonna put that in there, looking like.
Yeah. And
I'm not excited for it.
What is that? Like 9 Star Wars references?
Oh gosh, we can't not do a stall.
Yeah.
it'll happen.
We need to take the high ground.
But yeah, even the support.
Sorry. Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, even the supporting cast. I mean, we've got Brian Tyree Henry. That's his name. Lakeith Stanfield. I think
Keith.
Paperboy's character is amazing to me, if only just for the fact that his annoyed face is the best thing on TV. Like, he's got the best pissed off face.
You're not wrong.
He reacts so well to the absurdity that's around him, which is usually Darius. Yeah.
Anyone else have the weird feeling that... because we didn't expect to get it this soon because he was so busy with these other projects. Donald.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, to
It
be
has
fair,
been
it was,
like 18 months.
No,
Almost.
it was already supposed to be out. They did push it.
Yeah, they did, but I thought it was going to get pushed further, and I feel
further.
like he kind of foresaw Solo maybe being a bit of a train wreck and said, I'm going to focus on Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
no.
Maybe not.
I think
Probably
a lot
not,
of... He could film some of them simultaneously.
Yeah, he
There
could.
was post-production and the editing. I know he was involved with the editing for
Yeah.
the first one. But also, I think I'd be remiss if we missed out mentioning Zazie Beetz,
Oh, she is.
Oh, yeah.
who is also going to be featuring in Deadpool, the sequel.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, as Calypso. So that's going to be really cool. And I was really glad to see her cast in that because I was like, this girl needs some
Some more exposure.
roles, man. She was
Yeah.
great too. I really
is.
loved her in the first season. I think it's going to get
So,
better from here.
when are we getting it? 1st of March?
Yeah, it's
Next
this week.
Thursday.
Well, I think, I mean,
This will be out by then. This won't be
Yeah.
out by then. But
my ever perfect source, Wikipedia, lists it as already out.
no, but well, he tweeted.
Yeah, so
But he
there was a
deleted the
bit of
tweet like he
delay on
does.
that. Yeah, of
And
course.
I've seen early hype from critics.
Okay.
People,
Good
are,
stuff.
people are going crazy.
Yeah, well, people are going crazy for Black Panther too, and we love that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I mention my?
Yeah, Neil, I think you're up again.
Yeah, so this is one you won't have on your list, and I think Ezra will probably, if he doesn't have it on his list, I don't think you do. You'll kick yourself because you're excited for this. You will be, and that is Young Justice season 3.
Oh,
It is.
yes.
I mean, and if you had asked me 3 months ago about Young Justice season 3, I wouldn't have known what you're talking about. But Ezra put me onto it. Just not even telling me to go watch it, just talking about it so often. And I watched season 1 and watched season 2, and I don't understand why it hasn't had season 3 since 2013 is when season 2 ended. Because that was just a perfect Justice, well, Young Justice show. And the characters were phenomenal. I was so invested in all of them. The way that they did the jump from season 1 to season 2. And I'm just excited to see where they take season 3. It's been 5 years since the world got new Young Justice.
People like you doing the Lord's work and telling other people to watch the show.
Yeah,
that probably
it's so
made
underrated.
Season 3.
People care all about the other. What's the? You get Teen
What,
Titans,
Teen
and then you get
Titans?
Teen Titans Go.
just trash.
Complete trash. And this was a Cartoon Network show, but done so well, and they just didn't get carried on after season 2. And season 2
Yeah.
ended off in such an emotional. I was an emotional train wreck after that. I was smashed. I
so
needed
was
to
I.
take a long hot bubble bath, but I couldn't because of water restrictions,
yeah.
in Cape Town.
It must be said, I think a big part of the reason it got cancelled is it's one of those things where the wrong network has the show.
It's true.
A very young audience, which probably didn't quite...
Who had the show?
I feel it was
Cartoon Network.
Similar thing that
And
happened
who's
to...
picking it up? Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar
Yeah,
thing that
Netflix is
happened to
funny.
Legend of Korra. I mean,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon always had it originally, but Legend of Korra touched on too many adult themes for Nickelodeon, even Nick at Night. And they moved it to their streaming service.
They pretty much gave up on it, but said to the animators, we want you to finish your vision and let you finish the show.
Yeah, but gave them hardly any budget for it. Which
Yeah, but it must be said, I thought Legend of Korra is on the same level as
as
Lost Airbender. I think it's great. And
Different,
I
but
think
great.
Young Justice is equally good as a cartoon, and again as a
not
superhero
even
cartoon.
just as a
the fact that it
as a
does
show.
what it does in
It's-
that realm,
yeah.
I think it's great. Yeah, so
characters
I've
are
been
fleshed out, and you care about at least the main few.
definitely looking forward to that too.
Cool. I'm excited for that. Anything else for you?
No, that was me.
Anything else
It
for
was
you?
just- yeah,
Well
those
then,
two.
I guess it's just up to me to say something that I know you guys will all agree with. That's motherfucking Legion.
Oh yeah,
Of course. Oh, I forgot to put that.
I
on.
was
Yeah,
that was
thinking
there.
we were doing
Because
shows
we
that
spoke
we
about
hadn't-
Legion already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just must be said.
Of course.
Legion Season 2 is coming out. They have released a teaser for it. Of
course.
Oh, I didn't see
Have
the
you guys
teaser.
seen it?
The Aubrey Plaza. Isn't she?
We will watch
saw an
the
Aubrey
teaser.
Plaza.
No. There
when
is
we
a...
finish watching.
Yeah, well, you guys
recording
knowing what we're going to be doing as soon as we're done recording this. Yeah, they've released a teaser for it.
Awesome.
It feels like it's the same vibe. I got chills and also flashbacks to when I was watching the first season when I watched it. So I think it's going to be great.
Fantastic.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Tally ho,
Hopefully
into 2018 we go.
Yeah, we mentioned between you and I basically then 3 superhero movies, but I mean we'll go with it.
Yeah, I mean they're series, but
Series, yeah.
yes,
Did I
you
say
said
what did I
movies.
say?
Movies
Sorry.
podcast was last time.
Sorry, man, I wasn't invited.
That's true.
That was Dylan, the other white guy.
Yeah, so that's that. We're definitely going to be jumping into a lot more topics. I feel like we've promised it too much during this to not give you a Star Wars podcast.
That's going to be a spicy one. That is going to be a spicy one.
Yeah, that might be our first 3-hour one
Spicy
too.
boy.
But yeah,
I mean, on evidence of your little, like, altercation that I...
Well, because he was wrong and he knows it.
no, I was not wrong at all.
I respect your decision, but you're wrong and I hate you.
Okay,
it's fine.
great.
We'll go with it.
Thanks for tuning into our friendly podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Follow us if you'd like some more. Like and repost this if you enjoyed it. Or you don't even need to do that. Just be old-fashioned and just send your friends a link. Tell them about it. Make sure you're having these conversations with the people that you know. Tell them when they're wrong. Beat it into them that your opinion is right. We're encouraging you to do this. Join our cult.
Opinions are facts. I don't know why.
Definitely. That's how the world works. Fake news is fake news. Good night, everyone.
And save water.
And
Save water.
follow at Neil Real. Check out my website, but I won't give you the link. Just find it. Bye.